We have a major game-breaking exploit that we need to talk about. Blizzard is also charging $450 for this. We'll also go over a few little PSA things that have been tweeted out by devs, and I'll very briefly give my thoughts on what I thought about the server slam and about release, but I won't waste too much time there because I know you guys have heard a ton already. What's up, world? Streamer back in the video. Today we're checking out all things Diablo 4. But let's just get into the exploit concerns because these are pretty serious. In this now deleted post, deleted by the author, they note that there's a serious issue. Inventory is not saving upon exiting the game in certain circumstances. Possible dupe scenarios can occur in these instances. Now, normally you can view a deleted Reddit post through a bunch of different websites like Unedit and a few others. However, with this post in particular, I could not get the contents to pull up, but I was able to use the Wayback Machine to actually pull up the contents. I feel like deleting this was not a good decision here, as this is exactly what happened with New World. Let's just go over it really quickly and then I'll go over my brief thoughts on it. They said, I was farming the level 30 area for legendary drops and I got a sword. Instantly left the game and the sword was gone. I went back, got a shield, left the game, gone. So assuming they were picking these up very quickly and leaving and it wasn't syncing with the server just yet. They said I kept doing this for about 20 minutes. Around 2:34 p.m., the only way I was able to save the items was either to equip them or split a stack of gems. Essentially some movement in the inventory happening or splitting the stack of gems like he said. However, in one scenario, I split a stack of skulls, left the game, and when I rejoined, the skulls were back in the stack and the legendary was gone. At the very end, my dupe senses are tingling. And there was a bunch of comments down below kind of ridiculing this person for they say not knowing how dupe glitches work. But this is exactly how dupe glitches occur. There's a desync in the server. This is exactly what happened with New World. In fact, the New World dupe glitch did the exact same thing. There was a desync with the server not aligning properly. And so what people aren't understanding is that the method would be probably applied to either trading or having another person pick up the item off the ground. I don't know if you noticed, but with the last beta and the one previously, if someone dropped an item on the ground, everybody in the surrounding area could pick it up. Realistically, my thought process is if someone drops an item, someone else picks up the item, they leave the game, that person might still have the legendary in their inventory and the other person might also still have it as well. Now, there is a desync period there, and who knows what the real desync period is, but people calling it out, I really don't understand that because this is exactly what New World dupe glitch did. There was a desync in the server. Now, Blizzard usually is pretty good about this stuff, I would think. I think there's only been like a few dupe glitches in WoW's history. I think there was some, there's probably still one in like the older Diablos I think I heard about, although I didn't play those, so I can't really speak from that experience. But yeah, this is a very serious issue, and I hope that there's some protection there. Now again, they didn't duplicate anything, they just lost items. However, if someone figures out how to reverse that and do it with latency of being able to duplicate it through either trading or dropping the item. So this is a super serious concern that I hope is addressed or at least thoroughly tested and no one's figured anything out, because I can guarantee you there are some private discords that are going over this exploit stuff. It happened the exact same way with New World. A bunch of people got into a private discord, they were all going around sharing these little exploits, making a ton of cash. So now there's a lot of money involved with games, especially if you RMT, and so this sort of thing is like real money makers to some people. So you can't put it past people finding some sort of exploit glitch there. And I really wish they didn't delete this post. I wish they'd bring more attention to it, because the companies really don't act unless they see a lot of people talking about it. At least that's what happened with AGS, and I really don't put that past Blizzard to like kind of let that sort of thing go. These big companies, they really only act when consumers push for it, and so people need to be talking about this sort of stuff. But moving on, we'll see how that all plays out in the next coming weeks. But Adam Fletcher went ahead and gave a PSA out on Twitter just saying, just a heads up, you do not need to keep your Diablo server slam clients. The full version of the game will be wholly different, so there isn't a need to use drive space for it. Which does make sense, although it was pretty close. I think it was like 9.3 or 0.93. So it's very close to 1.0, but yeah, it's probably going to be on a brand new client and something that they didn't pull off for the beta. Also, 80 gigabytes being used up is quite a lot. So unfortunately, you really need to re-download near launch. Maybe there's a preload, but there was some people here that were complaining because they had data cap limits. And yeah, that is kind of unfortunate that you can't just use it from the beta, although I haven't really known a game that hasn't changed the entire client usually. It's a lot of engine rewrites and a lot of things that they get adjusted for, and when the betas are made, they're usually made on a completely different client. And Blizzard is charging $450 for shipping. So apparently, if you want to buy the collector's edition box from the EU to the EU, it is 450 euros. That is a lot of money. That $500 just for shipping is more cost than the collector's edition box itself, and they even contacted support, but support did not give them a nice response here and just let them know that they cannot adjust the cost of the shipping. And yeah, this doesn't seem right, so again, hopefully bringing light to this, and hopefully they go ahead and fix this, because this is not something that should ever be considered normal, nor should it be 5 times the price of the actual item. Probably can get it cheaper from scalpers on eBay at this point. And actually, somebody did find horse cosmetics in the game itself, and not on the store. There was no on the store, but they actually did find a horse cosmetic in that last Server Slam beta, and they said they found it off a treasure golem, and apparently it dropped as a legendary, or they said they thought it was a legendary, so I assume that it dropped legendary color. However, it's not legendary color in their inventory, and it kind of just says like little cosmetic armor. This one requires level 9. I'd be curious if the other cosmetic armor requires much higher levels, and if you wouldn't be able to use a cosmetic that you looted. That would be a little far-fetched, although I wouldn't put that past them. Someone else managed to grab a trophy here, so there is other trophy cosmetics that you can unlock other than the one that you got for downing Ashava at level 20. So that's kind of cool there too, and this one doesn't have a level cap, or they're not highlighted over it, so we can't see if there was anything or if it required a certain level. Now, there's been a ton of discourse online, whether it's the cosmetic stuff, the in-game shop stuff, the end game, or even the stuff at the beginning with leveling. I do have my little micro thoughts here that I'll put out here really quickly. So again, I know you heard a ton already, so I'm not going to go over like a ton of it. But I will say overall, Sorcerer felt pretty good. That was kind of my main spec play. I did think that Necromancer really needs adjustment with build varieties. You know, Sorcerer, I had a bunch of builds that I posted, and I had a ton of comments that people were saying, you know, I'm running this, I'm running this. And that was really good to see. However, with Necromancer, in my Necromancer build video, people were really upset, more so that they didn't think there was a build at all. And yeah, Necromancer really felt lacking with build variety that I wasn't happy with, especially with the minions. And all the big excuses that, well, you're only level 20, you're only level 25, but the game should feel good right off the bat. I mean, even Lost Ark felt good to play right at the beginning. And that's my other point there too, is I really do think they should have leaned a little bit more into the Lost Ark stuff. Like with the MMO things, there shouldn't be a limit of 25 people on per map. Or I think maybe it's 40 people per map with Diablo 4. But it should be much more than it is, especially for the world boss fight. I think you could only have like 10 or 12 people in that little section there. And that just feels so limiting, especially compared to Lost Ark having like a ton of people in a section. Felt a lot more alive, and I really did enjoy that. I wish they would lean more into it, and I also wish that they would just add WASD movement. Please, Blizzard. The latency and the server tick rate is not working out as a sorcerer. My character is constantly walking toward a mob when I just mean to auto attack. And I know there's like a comment earlier I saw where someone said to use the stand key. There's like a force stand key and force move key. I shouldn't have to do all that constantly. That's like not a lot of work, especially on a keyboard, but still to think about that while I'm just trying to play the game. If they just add WASD, it would alleviate all this, and I'm really not sure why they're so against it. Other than that, I was decently happy with the beta so far and with the game, and I think that it's going to be pretty fun for at least a month or two. But let me hear your guys' thoughts down below. I am curious, and I try to reply to everybody, at least people that give like a decent comment, and even negative ones too. But that is about cover for today's video. If you like it, like and subscribe. Until the next one. Doses.